Shingo fair and square and as clean as a sheet, and you always hear the rhetoric like, well, these guys have to be bad guys, they have to cut corners, they've got to be slimy, they can't be better than the guys, they can't be clean as a sheet. But the reality is, all they got to do at the end of the day is in a sports-centric situation, even if they come out on top, get the heat back. Because when you get the heat back at the end, then you're like, oh, it was so close, and yeah, they won this time, but they're a poor sport. They fucked up our guy, and now they're simpy on Shingo, and you want to see Shingo beat this guy's ass now, even though you like him. And it's really, really, really good.
Yeah, so that was really good stuff. I really loved that match. Very hard hitting, very fast paced, and like you mentioned, like we've seen in a lot of the Gabe matches, even though they've been very good, there's been a lot of the outside brawling, outside in the crowd, a lot of that stuff. And here it was all kept in the ring, hard hitting from the go. They ran together as soon as the bell rings, and it was an awesome matchup. So definitely really love this match. Yeah, Gabe had a really good week here of all these matches. The Umino match was very interesting. Like you're saying, like, all right, what's a work, what's a shoot? Because they were playing up to a lot of that stuff in the promos, pre-match. Gabe talking about you try to ruin my life and all this stuff, and so they were like making little small hints to it in the promos at the press conference, and then post-match, Gabe made comments, and then in the match, he's yelling at him, and they're kind of like that kind of heatedness. So like, all right, was this story that got leaked kind of a story to kind of cover up, like you mentioned, like Umino's injury, or was it the injury that the story was to cover up that he wasn't really injured? So I don't know. We'll never really know what happened, but
or was he just injured, and then they came up with a story to make money off of an actual, just natural occurring injury? Who knows? Like, we don't really know. Like, there's people that have inside sources and that have heard things and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, we don't really know. It's a carny business, and one way or the other, it's working out for the better, because you definitely want to see Shingo and Gabe Kidd run it back. And one of the things with that whole thing is, yes, people considered Gabe up to this point a young guy and an upcoming star, but you don't hear his name thrown around with like the Reiwa Musketeers. You kind of consider him like an ancillary player. Suddenly, he has made himself like so ingrained in the fabric of what they have going on that I feel like we're getting to a point where it's like you're going to be talking about like Jumbo, Tenru, Baba, Stan Hansen. It's like you can't not have like that guy tied up in what everybody else is doing. And that's sort of like where he's starting to trend,
We had a question here from Death Triangle 720. It says, did Gabe or Show feel like the potential WrestleMania match if given the right booking?
Oh, I didn't even see that here. Okay, I see that right there. Yeah. Yeah, potentially. I don't know necessarily that it's what they're thinking they'd like to do, but it definitely feels like it's deserving to happen again on a bigger stage, probably.
Yeah, easily to see that being the first chapter and something bigger. And so if they kind of keep that personal rivalry going, that heat kind of going, yeah, you could definitely do something where, maybe Gabe walks in as champion, you have Shooter challenging, Shooter champion, Gabe challenges, or you just have a big grudge match. Definitely potential for them at a bigger stage. He also asks, do you think it's too soon to turn Gabe Kidd as a face or as a tweener? I think there's more money to be made as him being the focal point of the War Dog and having that proper heel run.
Well, as soon as that handshake happened earlier today, I was like, whoa, hold on a second. Are we going in a different direction? Because he's been pointing out all throughout the tour how he's the bad guy, he's the black hat, and he doesn't speak the language, he doesn't read or anything, but he's getting cheered over the kind of guys that you would think would be crowd favorites. And I was like, oh my god, maybe they're starting to lean a different way. And they got me. Like, for a moment they got me, because I was like, what will the fallout be? Him showing respect to Shingo when he has to like go face to face with like David Finlay again? Like, is this something that's going to be frowned upon? Like, it's going to cause issues? But then he kicked him in the balls, and I was like, okay, it's just him getting his heat back, but was a little bit of a tease because you're like, huh, the crowd was receptive to this, you know? And I feel like that face turn down the road could potentially be really, really, like, they could be really receptive to it.
Yeah, I think you drag it out. I think the story, if I was booking, I'd kind of lean into the fact of like, all right, he's getting all these crowd reactions, and you have like David Finley being jealous of like, well, I'm the leader of the War Dogs, and you're getting this reaction, and it could be a thumbs up, thumbs down moment for Gabe, where all the War Dogs turn on him, so he's kind of forced into being a face without necessarily like changing his character.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of his opponent, Shota Umino, he's up next year, also sitting with 6 points, 3 and 2. Like we mentioned, night 3, losing to Wade Kidd, and he bounced back on night 5, defeating the Great Ocon in 15 minutes and 7 seconds. And then talked about night 7, him defeating Zack Sabre Jr. in 19 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yeah, I think the two standout matches, like we mentioned earlier, are the ones with Gabe Kidd and Zack Sabre Jr. The match with Ocon was also good. Ocon, we'll talk about him a little bit. He's trying as well. Like, he's really, really trying this year in the tournament. And so that was a good action-packed meeting. I think a lot of, last week the conversation kind of centered around, is Shota Umino washed, and both of us were like, that's a little too soon to be talking about that. This week, I'm not hearing so much of that, but I think the conversation is kind of surrounding the idea of like, where are we going with Shota Umino? Is he still like the ace apparent, the guy that is the most promising of the young up and coming guys, or is he going to be a failure of a push? Right now, and a lot of the other people have made these same remarks, and I feel like they're coming to light in the tournament. Like the hair, not great. The facials when he's coming out to the ring, not that great. There does seem to be a lack of charisma, and the gear isn't necessarily inspiring. Like right now, this package of Shota Umino, and I guess we talked about it a bit last week. It's not giving off top guy energy, and there have been plenty of times where I felt like Shota Umino, the build, the look, the body, and the charisma of a top guy, and something seems to be shaped. I don't know if this is a work where they're leading into something. I don't know if like real world, stuff that's going on in his personal life has shaped his confidence with injury and stuff like that, or if it's a case of he thought he'd be the guy and it's just not working out. I've heard prominent voices in the community compare him to like Yoshihashi, which is not a great comparison point. Not that he's not a great worker, but that's not the kind of guy you want to be getting compared to in returning to this version. Yoshihashi.
Yeah, and it's funny. You know how company fight happens when he looks. Look at all the renders he used in the match graphics. Like the ones they use on the Big Tron, it's him, his hair's so long, it's blonde. And then the one that's on like the bottom, like lower third, they pop up after the match is over. This is coming up next. Like the dark long hair, the old like Gary Russell Ospreay. So even the company, like Cal Newman has a new render, Bullock has a new render. Like all these guys have new gears, have new renders, except Umino. The company is still showing. They're still showing long hairs, old look Umino. That I'm sure, like them, that was an ace look that he had that.
No goddamn way.
In that gear and those graphics, and so they're still using that compared to short hair and what it's like now.
And there's almost a certain Naito quality to this whole thing, like where it's not exactly a 1-for-1, but Naito really tried to make the Stardust Genius persona work for quite a while, and there were times where it did feel like he was destined to be the next big ace level star of the company, and it just didn't come together, and eventually he got rejected. And I am kind of wondering if there is a groundswell of fans that just don't support him in his current iteration. And if it is going to be something like a Nakamura or a Naito where he's going to have to completely reinvent himself and go back to the drawing board and start again. And a lot of people don't always think about the aspects of like those two guys with their, Hall of Fame level careers. They had to revamp everything after having already like been given tournament wins and championship gold and everything. They had to like reset and restart and go back to the drawing board. And that might be what we're looking at with Knight, or I'm sorry, with Lumia.
Yeah, maybe. I think the hard thing too is like really just knowing what the domestic fan base is feeling, because they don't react. He's getting good crowd reactions. They were behind him in a lot of these matches here, especially that Zack match. They really wanted to see him, get out those holds and come back and win. So I feel like the crowd is still with him. But I guess we'll have to see like how far that goes.
I think they are, but it's not. I'm not hearing like, it's not the kind of level of support I'm seeing for like say Suji, or like you are under discernment.
Yeah. But as far as performances overall, a really solid week for we talked about the Gabe Kid match, or Zack match. I mentioned the Ocon match was really good. There's some online history there. So she was looking good, and I think definitely somebody to watch. It's somebody who can continue to soar up into the top of the block. So moving on, next we have the Dragon, Shingo Takagi. It's 2-3, sitting at 4 points. So night 3, he defeated Great Ocon, 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Night 5, losing to Callum Newman in 12 minutes and 51 seconds. Then at night 7, he lost to Gabe Kid about 13 minutes and 50 seconds.
Shingo is Shingo. He's still having great matches, great performances. I don't think thus far in the tournament he's peaked at the level that he has in other G1s in the past. But with him, you just never know. It could happen at any point of the tournament with a great guy. Part of me wants to say like a little surprised I'm looking, but then again, I'm just not, because the tournament is wide open still at this juncture. So like the idea that 2 wins and 3 losses that he'd be on the chopping block, he's not, because
come on!
6 wins and he's right there in the conversation for being in one of those finalists. So it's going to be hard to tell. But the match with Calhoun was awesome, and the fact that he got beat by Calhoun, that was really shocking. And yeah, so he's gone 2 matches back to back, losing to Young, talent. But he's having a hell of a tournament.
Yeah, he's having a great tournament. Yeah, these matches are fun. And Calhoun match again. I mentioned the whole Will Ospreay tie, the history of Will and Shingo agreements they've had. So kind of a little tribute to that. Also, they didn't get the time that Will and Shingo would get in the past, but it was a great start to that night. And yeah, the finish was awesome with Calhoun kind of bouncing out of that DDT onto the ropes into the Oz Cutter and pinning Shingo. So big upset win there for Callum. Shingo did a good job of him good there in that match. And then the Ocon match was a very hard-hitting kind of slugger match, and I love that he ended up winning with a pumping bomber. It's not Ocon so hard with that clothesline, got the win there, and then talk about the Gabe match and how hard-hitting that was. So yeah, Shingo had some really good hard-hitting matches. Like you mentioned, not his peak like. Now, there weren't any match of the year contenders from this week, but these are all really great matches, especially the Gabe match, probably the best match in this bunch here. And so, yeah, I think it was still good. And like you mentioned, he's 2-3, and all it takes is, he gets 4 wins in a row. That's 6-3, 12 points. It's a good job of winning the block. So he's not out of the running yet. And even, for the whole top 3, even if he got to like 5-4, there's still a potential chance for him to get through. I think a key thing for him, and what was probably happening next for him, is he beat Naito in the first night, and so he pretty much can cash in on a potential title match in the fall. There's that big show in Kobe. I think that's in September, October. So he could, not have a great point total, but still call Naito out and they run that big Kobe show and shit on Naito.
That's still like on the table. We'll see how that plays out. You know my theory. I think Naito is going to be one of the number 2, number 3 slots and lose to somebody and set up one of those title matches going forward. But yeah, man. I mean, if you're looking for a facsimile for somebody to sort of facilitate what Ishii had been in the past, I know a lot of people are pointing to some of the guys on the E-Block, but for me, the closest thing you're going to get to like a night in, night out Ishii style match is Sheila at this point in time.
Yeah, Sheila's been awesome. So moving on to Cal Newman, who's also sitting at 234 points. Night 3, dropping to Zack Sabre Jr. 11 56 seconds. Night 5, beating Shingo 12 minutes 51 seconds, and then Night 7 losing to Evil in 9 minutes and 8 seconds.
Yeah, man. Cal Newman is fucking real. We have been talking about since this guy debuted in the company the potential that he has and the tools that he has and everything like that. But we've been talking about it very much in a someday, off in the future, gets some more reps under his belt, he might be able to develop into like one of these top guy worker sort of situations. And I thought even like a few weeks ago, coming out of the qualifying tournaments, we were like, yeah, he's probably a bit more ready or prepared than his counterpart, the D-Block or Bolton. But, you know, it's going to be a learning experience for him. And don't get me wrong, it still is, but I don't think we realize how fucking ready he actually is and, like, how good he actually could be given the right opponents and given enough time to go out there and, like, flex his skills. Fuck, he is fucking really, really good. And I've been busy with the G1, so I haven't been plugged into hardly anything else that's going on, but I heard that there was like negative discourse surrounding the match with Shingo. Let me tell you this. You want that negative discourse. If you are an awesome wrestler and you go out there and you showcase what you can do, you're going to ruffle the feathers of the right kinds of fan bases that are going to feel threatened by the potential and the fucking like studness that he has like put on display, and the bad faith arguments come out. We saw it with Kenny Omega, we saw it with Will Ospreay, we saw it with Ricochet back in the day. They don't want another one of those guys, and he's and guess what? He's here.
Right, also, being a Will protege, he should definitely learn that lesson of, yeah, there's definitely going to be haters out there. Yeah, I guess there was a lot of complaints and the Shingo match of no selling and not how he got into the hospital at the end. But yeah, I thought he's been awesome in this tournament, and we're going to have a short movement that kind of 9 to like 13-minute range. So never been like a full 20-minute banger, but in the time he's got been really awesome, and I think we're just kind of scratching the surface of what he can do athletically. Like, it's a cool spot in the Eagle match today where they had him out on the outside the barricade, and he like bounced off the barricade, jumped over to Togo into the ring, and so just a lot of really cool stuff that he's doing in these matches. And so I think as time goes on, he gets, like you mentioned, right opponents, longer matches, and bigger spots. I think he's going to show us how truly talented he is.
Yeah, I totally concur. And yes, you're absolutely right. Like, he has been. I think that the matches have been short enough to where he's not being overexposed in case he's not fully ready to have that longer style of match.
Oh, Warlord Wayne!
So short, like some of the matches, singles matches he had prior, where he's not getting enough time to really get the reps in. He's getting enough opportunity to have different styles of matches with different kinds of opponents and getting his feet wet, and he's passing the test each time with flying colors, and he's getting big wins over named opponents. This is what you call an elevation.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see. So next up, Tetsuya Naito, IWGP
Look like he is, but he got
also setting 2-3 with 4 points. Night 3, Naito defeating Jake Lee, 15 minutes and 5 seconds. Night 5, he lost to Evil, 15 minutes 11 seconds. And night 7,
I made it to him.
17 minutes.
I made it to him.
Let me tell my dog, wax poetic about Naito's tournament.
Yes, I'll see. Tetsuya Naito's definitely been
Wait
with a lot of fans, and is he washed? Is he not washed? What is the state of his body? And kind of had a mixed week here. The Jake Lee match from night 3, I think, was one of the worst matches of the tournament. We'll talk more about Jake Lee, but he's just undynamic when he's on offense and uncharismatic. He's just a very uninteresting guy to watch. And then you mix that with a Naito that's not in his prime, like that match was a mess. We had another Destino botch, and Naito's falling over the place. Like, that was a sloppy match there. And
Which match?
the Jake Lee match.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Naito got the win, considering he already beat Jake Lee earlier this year. I think a lot of people, we get to say it, they saying to Sport Wrestling particular, a lot of people had Jake Lee, including myself, winning here. But Naito gave the win in a very solid match. And then we're kind of talking about the Evil match. LIJ, what the
Damn!
there, where they're getting the heat and people are, Bushi running in, Dakota running in. Evil getting the win there, and then it's not a match today. I thought was actually pretty good. They've had a series of matches now, especially with Sonata moving in out of LIJ. But title match is known, but it looks like or anything. But I feel this was a really good match. Especially two guys that are known to kind of put Bumble around and have miscommunications with other people. They're kind of locked in here and end up having a pretty good main event.
Yeah, I think that, to me, considering what is very much inherently happening with Naito and his body, I think he's having a really good tournament. I think he's putting in a hell of an effort. I totally agree with you. I think that the Jake Lee match was dog shit. But, and I don't want to say it's all Jake Lee's fault, because Jake Lee, I don't think he's had a great tournament at all. I do think confident wrestling. Even if boring most of the time, they haven't necessarily fallen apart. The match with Naito was falling apart. And I think part of that is due to bad chemistry. Part of that's probably due to Jake Lee just kind of sucking so far from what I can tell. Also, Naito's
God damn it.
But that being said, Evil is not matches. We talked about it last week. Out of the first two nights of the tournament, I thought Naito had fantastic matches. You and I seem to be outliers in his first two nights with Shingo.
Oh, damn, both of them down here.
Those are the people that I've listened to or heard. It hasn't been that many, but I've checked in a few places, and people are really down on those matches. And I think a lot of that really does come down to the botches with the Destino. And for me, I felt like the matches themselves, the work was good enough to overcome
Get to the box, get to the box. You need to get them out of the box.
and the botchiness of those moments. The match.
Oh, you got you, swear on it.
But I thought that
You need one of those.
This week was
Done.
And then the Evil match was shocking.
What are you doing, baby?
Possible. I would even say good.
Ah!
You really need to see this, but like, you see these guys stick
Yeah, weighing 30, shit, that ain't bad.
Many times, and this might be one of the best matches they've ever had, and they kept it short, 15 minutes, 11 seconds. Evil got the shot win, which was also, kind of interesting, refreshing. And then the Sonata match, here's the thing. Before the series of matches that Sonata and Naito had this past January and February, they had never really had anything less than a close to 4-star match prior to that. every match they had was really good. And I've been on record to say that despite some of the flaws, I like the wrestling match overall. So I'm not too surprised that they had a good match here. I felt like Naito put on his working boots, and Sonata was really something's going on because everybody's motivated all of a sudden. Like Sonata's actually fucking trying, and it's almost like when you sleep, like someone's really like really off the island sort of vibes right now because everyone's trying. They're not lackadaisical, and yeah. 17 minutes, 45 seconds, the shortest singles match between Naito and Sonata, and Naito did overstage well. But in every single one of these matches, Naito has either
make me fall. You bitch.
A fucking Destino, and people are starting to think that it's just part of the work and that it's like a long-term story. And you're never going to convince me that he's actually doing this shit. I don't think
I wanted to use that microwave.
I'm watching.
What you ready to go see Kelly real quick?
He's not that far off from
No, I ain't.
like
Kelly.
What you want to go see one of your freaks real bad now? Where the fuck you at? I was looking for him. Where the fuck you at?
Oh shit, come on. What shit going on with this house?
Wow. Why don't you tell him?
I want to.
Come on, sure. You went over to the bitch house?
Yeah.
Why the fuck you go over to the bitch house for? Tell that bitch come to you.
She moved.
What the fuck she living in now?
But it's not Naito.
She moved so fucking much.
Man, don't be going in these motherfucking houses. You tell that bitch come see you, man. Tell that bitch you feel more safe when she comes to you.
Does mostly.
Right, cause I was wondering what you want after them. You probably want to go see his friend. Then I thought you were over Shaw. That's why I called you. I thought you were over Shaw.
You know?
Yeah.
You're definitely posting and you're getting up, but like.
It's gonna rain. You see how warm it was today though?
That momentum, that motion.
It's gonna be warm tomorrow though. It's gonna be 51 tomorrow.
All these guys.
Then on Sunday it's gonna be 59, but it's gonna rain.
Years.
This nigga now already tell us something. Yo, why am I listening? We going over our ex-boyfriend house, people house. You think that's wrong? I said, no, Andre, let me break this shit out.
Yeah, probably.
That girl gonna do what the fuck she wanted to do right around. You can't tell that girl what to do. So, yo, but that's wrong. She don't deal with that, man. She's dealing with me. Why the fuck she going to another nigga's family house?
Because you got you own you motherfucker.
I said, check this out. This one I want you to understand now, Andre. That girl, what the fuck she want? I'm trying to tell you. No, but I'm trying to tell him.
These are ugly.
People gonna do what they want to do regardless, right? Don't keep crying about it. I say, yo.
She got her mind on doing what she want to do. She want to do it.
Maybe the step that. One on Sonata today, the run one on Sonata looked really good.
I thought it looked dog shit. And
somebody back porch on fire on a 3,000 block of person. Next block over. What you talking about?
They were both falling down midway.
What you drop?
They got lucky that they even completed that.
Was something on your phone?
Yeah,
Yeah, so first, let's question 7252 says Naito's body or his knees feels washed up right now. After his match with Jake Lee, at this point, should he lose a belt to one of those guys who have beat him in G1, whether it's Cheeto, Saber, or anyone else, that might beat him in the tournament? I know the company has faith in him as one of the last main players to carry the belt at Wrestle Kingdom, but I'd rather go the safe route of putting the title on someone else rather than taking a risk of having a bad main event on the biggest show of the company.
Naito very rarely has bad matches in big spots. Regardless of any burial that we might, or a critical analysis we might bring to matches that he's had where we don't think it necessarily lives up to the standards set in this company, he rarely has truly, utterly god-awful bad matches unless he has a terrible opponent. So,
yep, you know,
from a business standpoint, unless he literally can't physically wrestle or do a Wrestle Kingdom main event, I don't think for the dome. I think
yeah, he won't get the ego in the car wash.
Business sense whatsoever.
But even if I
have a hard time.
right, that's his name with the 2 dubs.
even if
You see
there
this?
is a risk,
He's supposed to be black
quote
too. He's
unquote,
about to
running
get on
that
down.
the worst risk is not drawing and not making money.
You know, right across
And at
the
this point
street
in
from
time, the
old farm, right
priority
across
is
the
making
farm.
money and drawing people. Actually, still
Across the
draw.
farm.
Man,
So
yo, you be down here worrying about shit you ain't supposed to be worrying about, man, little man.
You're making the most money.
You don't know what happened or what the fuck is going on. You
They tell you what off.
Underscore
You see the charge on the bottom?
IT. Will this be Naito?
I know you don't even know these people, yo.
Good out
It's
there.
usually right around the corner.
Interesting thing. So I'm working on a little bit of a personal project. So I was going back to some of our G1 reviews from years past, and I stumbled upon the 2021 G1 review, and someone asked us at the time,
I'm just saying.
did we think that it would be
You don't know what the fuck going on, man.
So Jane invented a
3009. Oh, you live across the street.
Yeah,
and
you
at
ready for
the
it?
time, I was like, yeah, I don't really see it after this.
Man, let me stop. You need to drive this negative way
Kind of going. That sort of did make sense at the time, or maybe I don't know if it was 2021. It might have been.
Oh,
Was he with the 2021? I can't tell.
Why I said that negative shit, man?
We're all these years later.
Yeah, I try to spread no rest and no reputation. This the best advice I can give you.
And
Don't love nobody too hard.
you know,
That's another way to get your feelings hurt.
sure.
So I'm trying to tell you something. Like them, not love them. What you mean like them, not love them?
He doesn't go anymore. You know,
When you start loving these bros and giving them all your heart, see, you feel like, wait, you feel that way about Melissa because you be giving her money.
and
you don't want to get your soul pleased. Check this out, bro.
In green.
Stop moving so fast and stop doing mouth. You trying to tell us all. Don't fall in love with that bitch mouth. You fell in love with that bitch mouth and now you're giving her anything she wants. Just like her. Stop loving her. Once you start loving her, you can't.
KBD1, I think he has
Sterling love is abuse. He think he's abusing it.
to
So
where
that
you
shit
kind
ain't
of
cool. You
establish
bitch ass. That shit ain't
different
cool with
styles,
your bitch ass.
kind of do your big kind of highlight mood or change your style up a little bit and kind of get your template and kind of change it up.
He already does though. Think about what he really does in the ring. Like he lays on the mat, wraps his legs around.
So what if Big Sugar was at?
Does a bunch of
What if Big Sugar was at when you
He
see him?
throws people into the fucking.
You said, yeah, bitch, you I need some time. I need some time. Yeah, bitch, I need some time.
You know,
I need some quality time.
it's not like he's doing the
It's
head drop
quality
just like he was with Revolution, that define shit he did with Kenny Omega all those years ago. Like he really does have a pretty safe, toned down style if you think about it. It's just he can't get up for, he can't run and he can't get up for just
Yeah.
I mean, his biggest offensive move right now is spitting on people.
Yeah.
He's like Sammy Callahan.
Yeah. And then the elbow kind of thing he's been doing too.
Yeah, he hits people with a million elbows and drop kicks to the ground. Like he's not really doing that many wild, crazy things.
Yeah.
Roger that, Sully.
Resin Falcon says, is it lazy booking at this point if both Naito and Tsuji started with 1 and 3 records, just end up winning their clocks? It's the Gale special, and they should find some other booking strategy.
I do understand where people are coming from with that, but I think because the potential with the math is so open, it's almost unavoidable that something like that could hypothetically happen. I think people are just kind of pointing out the narrative just because of the fact that Gato's done this sort of thing so many times in the past. But with there being 3 slots open, in the past we've seen so many tournaments where guys get eliminated by like night 6, night 7, and then they're just in there. But this year, they're probably going to almost all be alive going into the final night to some extent. And that really does kind of change some of the way I view this booking. Because, yeah, even if Naito is having to come from behind, so are the other guys. The other people who are playing for the number 2 and number 3 spot, a lot of them are also coming from behind. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and it feels a little bit more lazy with Nitros because we've seen it pretty much every year. The Tsuji one doesn't feel as big, but it's kind of something new for Tsuji, and I think it's a way to kind of get people behind him to come back. But like you said, in a tournament like this and the top 3, it's so hard to kind of do anything different at this point. So you're kind of bound to have these stories of somebody having a hot streak, having a cold streak, and I think rarely when you see this kind of parody, like one win, one loss, one win, one loss. I think there's more of a story you can tell with people kind of going through the hot streak, the cold streak.
Can't shot me leg.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said there.
So moving on, we got Sonata, who's sitting also 2-3 at 4 points. Night 3 losing to Evil. Night 5 defeating Gabe Kidd, and Night 7 losing to Tetsuya Naito.
I don't have a lot more to say than what I've already kind of mentioned about Sonata and other reviews. The Evil match didn't necessarily knock my socks off. It wasn't like blow away. But I thought the Gabe Kidd match was very good for what it was. I thought the Naito match was a really solid main event. And I think we're seeing a lot more effort from Sonata this year. Like last year, he did have some very good main events, right? Like the main event, I think, with like Suji, and then he had a main event with Kiyomiya that were both very, very good. But he just seemed to be throwing it in all the same. Whereas this time, like, he's not the champion, he doesn't have a guaranteed spot, he does seem to be really putting in a lot of effort. So that's, better than what I could say about him. I've had much more negative things to say about Sonata in the past.
Yeah, I think another thing too to mention with him is just the torn bicep injury. He worked pretty much all G1 last year with the torn bicep. He did not get surgery on it, so you can kind of see on his arm it's not fully healed. He didn't get surgery on it, so it was kind of wonky. And so
I've never noticed. I've heard them mention it, but I haven't even noticed that at all.
Yeah, so also having to fight through some of that towards the end of last year as well. So it seems like it's as good as it can be without getting surgery. But yeah, he does seem very motivated on this tour and have some really good performances. For him, he's having to do a comeback as well. And even that first big loss to Jake Lee, an embarrassing big loss there, and having to really kind of now rally back here and lost twice this week to his former Jay stablemates. So yeah, it's not going to be another guy that's definitely trying to make a comeback this next coming week. So next up, Great Okan, the provisional KOPW 22-24 champion, sitting at 1-4 with 2 points. Night 3 losing to Shingo Takagi. Night 5 losing to Shota Umino, and then Night 7 finally getting a win, getting some points on the board by defeating the smart bastard Jake Lee in 11 minutes and 19 seconds.
Great Okan's trying, and he's definitely showing. I think this is his strongest G1 overall performance. He might have had some standout matches in the past that were better than his output here, but Great Okan is actually really, really trying. Rainbow Sam Big says most I've been interested in Great Okan a long time. I would agree. He's at 2 points, and I know we've said anything is possible and it's all open. I don't think for him it's all open. I think he can still finish with a respectable point total, but I think he's a non-factor. But he's really trying, and he's having very, very, very good matches. There seems to be a fire that's been lit underneath him. The Shingo match was great. The Umino match was pretty good. And then I thought he gave Jake Lee his best match of the entire tournament. Surprisingly, I just thought they gelled better than anybody else has with Jake Lee so far in New Japan. And I thought it was a pretty solid performance. And
yeah, not a bad week here for Okan. Yeah, we talked about the Shingo matches, really good stuff there. Yeah, the Jake Lee match today. Kind of having to once again work around the size and power of Jake Lee, and it was awesome. Seeing him get Jake Lee up from the Eliminator there towards the end there. Okan kind of trying to match power with power there, and his whole kind of trying to show that he is the king of pro wrestling. He can do these different styles and match these styles. So he's been trying really hard. He's looking really good.
What are the lines on his stomach?
The lines?
Have you not noticed that?
No.
Okay. he brought it up when he was on commentary. There's like a grid on his stomach. Like, I don't know what it's from or anything. It's hard to, you have to be kind of looking for it, but I can't, now that I've noticed that, I can't stop thinking about it. I'm like, what happened to his stomach? I don't know. It's weird. It looks like he got, like, grilled. Someone took a hot grill.
I don't know what he's into, so. We have a question here from Mecan_Monster. Why is Great Okan booked poorly every time, and even worse this year? I understand, look, he's for G1 this year as part of the story, but what about GOK's?
It's a job to do. Someone's got to do it. You look at this block. You tell me that he shouldn't be at the bottom of the block.
Now that's good timing.
Right. We don't have Yano. We don't have Yujiro. We don't have Chase Owens. So yeah, somebody's got to eat some losses here, and it's going to be Okan. I think part of it is kind of the perception thing of the way he was booked previously, and kind of what's been going on with him now. And so yeah, he is kind of the bottom guy here. The KOPW champion was just kind of been seen as a joke title with him holding it, the whole eating contest stuff. So yeah, it stinks that he's that low, but yeah, who's he going to be over in a block like this? Yeah, but I mean, from an in-ring standpoint, you have really good matches.
You have good matches like this, it'll change public perception. It might not get you like completely overhauled overnight, but we've seen like having great tournaments like this have done in the past for guys like Uchii and like Yoshihashi, Taichi. You know, so it can change the trajectory of your career. And to be honest, Great Okan's had nothing but fairly disappointing G1s every year, except for this one.
Yeah, this is his best G1, and you know the presentation's good. You know, he has that new extended intro and music. He has the smoke, breathing the smoke, and he pulls off the question mark thing. So and he has the little like Muay Thai or the MMA shorts kind of thing going right now. So the presentation's really good for him right now, and you know, wrestling really, really good. And so yeah, it's a bummer that he's only 1-4, but again, it's not out. He could easily roll off. 4 more wins and be 5-4, and potentially get in at those 10 points. So he's not. I don't think he will either. But he's not like I can't say he's done right now. It would give him like 1 red X, but I think that he can still have a chance to get up there, potentially be 5-4 and get a decent point total. And last but not least, here in the A block, Smart Bastard Jake Lee, 1-4, 2 points. Night 3, losing to Naito. Night 5, losing to Saber. Night 7, losing to Okan.
Yeah, he came out strong with that first night, beating former undefeated champion Sonata in under 5 minutes, and then since then, no great matches. I like I said, I think the Great Okan match was his strongest showing, and nothing really to write home about in the kayfabe sense. 4 losses in a row, and I think that's like the most he's had in many years. So that's kind of saying something. And it is a little bit perplexing because it seems like they kind of brought him in with a bit of fanfare. So you would almost imagine that maybe there's plans for him moving forward. But then again, maybe they're telling us exactly
how much time I end up with this motherfucker?
The first time he left Ultimate, it's not like they were rushed to sign this guy and get him in the G1 back then.
20 more motherfucking minutes.
So
call it a night.
maybe they already know. Us fans who are getting acclimated to him already.
Come on, give me 23.
About him. I gotta tell you, I think he's easily the
23,
lowest
22.
Guy in the block, just
23.
in terms of like his output. And I think he's the worst performer of the tournament.
Damn,
and
that's all.
I, at this point, would have rathered that they put
That was
a
22.
Taichi or Yoshihashi or an Ishii or Tanahashi into this spot because he's kind of, in my opinion, a waste of space.
Yeah, man, I absolutely
22.
Like I said earlier, I like the Saber match. I felt like Saber kind of forced him.
I'll play one more.
Some there was also some grappling there, and so I feel like they were kind of got a little more out of him. But yeah, he's just very dull, very uninteresting. Like the facial expressions are not great. This is all when he's on offense. He's on offense a lot. He's this big, tall, blundering guy, and so he's overpowering dudes. He's doing the big boots. He's doing like you mentioned last week, kind of Kevin Nash kind of playbook, and he's just not entertaining to watch. It's not fun to watch.
Come on, he's third
person. But I just saw Rich share it in one of our chats. Tomorrow or Wednesday night, Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer 101 on Dynamite.
Yeah, I heard of that. Yeah, got announced this weekend. A lot of great G1 matches.
That's crazy. I might need to tune in for that one.
Yeah, we were there live, that 2019 G1 match with those guys in Dallas. So.
Every match they've had has been incredible.
Yeah. But who's not having incredible matches is Jake Lee. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, I would much rather, Yoshihashi, Tai Chi.
Alright, this is my last game.
Chase Owens.
No.
At this point. Like, this guy's just so uninteresting to watch.
Yeah, I know Barry Walsh has a question. I don't have anything else to say about him. We can kind of go over that question and then move on to the B-Block.
Yeah, Barry asked. He says, I know he was never set the world on fire, but I had assumed Jake Lee would have fared better than he has so far. Do you think all this is leading to something where he leaves the War Dogs, or simply a case of Noah Trash booking?
I can't completely write him off just yet because, again, even with just the one loss or one win in 5 matches, who's to say he doesn't bang out a couple wins here in the next few nights and kind of turn his fortunes around. So you want to talk about a guy playing from behind, like, and that could be Jake Lee, and there's still the possibility that that's where we're heading. So I'm not ready to completely write him off in a kayfabe sense.
I wouldn't question it.
Yeah, again, he could still get to 5 and 4, and maybe not going to advance, but usually you end at 10 points. That's usually like a pretty respectable score. A 2-block scenario like this, so you can still end up with a decent point total. I've heard some people kind of throw some theories around that, maybe he actually isn't done with Noah, and
I thought about that.
It's all part of a story where he joins the War Dogs, and Gale's like, this was a mistake, and he goes back to Noah because the GLG guy was still putting promos on him in Noah, so there's people thinking that maybe this is some kind of story that's just to get an outsider in the tournament and then eventually go back to Noah. So let's see how it all plays out.
Agreed.
Excited for the football season? Then don't miss your boost pack courtesy of BetMGM. Log into your BetMGM account today to receive your pro football boost pack. Then, apply the token from your pack to any qualifying pro football wagers, and you'll gain extra winnings and more. It's always fun to cheer for your favorite team and celebrate the game-winning drive. And now you can do that while getting in on the action with BetMGM. Make your bets and play along with the full slate of games like never before with BetMGM's daily promotions, live betting options, original bets, and so much more. Log in or sign up today to get your pro football boost pack. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for full terms. 21 plus only. Maryland only. Existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards vary. Bonus bets expires 7 days from issuance. Please play responsibly. For help, visit ndgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with MGM National Harbor. Offer not available in Washington, D.C.
Oh, boy.
When personal finance connects you to both your funds and the stuff that matters,
that's time me get the fuck off.
That's Cash App. Know what else is money? Using Cash App to request that $50 your cousin owes you. Actually, finally, getting that $50. Easily divvying up those pizza and coin checks before your boys have a chance to slip out. Tipping the delivery guy when you're flat out of cash. Hearing an awesome musician
come on.
tipping their Cash App. Sending everyone in your family group chat $1 just because.
Then everybody
Splitting the cost of tickets really expensive sporting event you're afraid you're going to have to foot the bill for. Watching your paycheck grow without you lifting a finger, collecting all that money in fantasy football, or at least easily shelling out that money for your fantasy football dues. Getting paid to read a wonderful ad script from my good friends at Cash App. Sending, spending, saving, splitting, tipping, donating, gifting, or just typing numbers, all with the #1 finance app in the App Store. That's money. That's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store today to create your own Cash App.
Toyotathon is on at Jerry's Toyota. Jerry's has Toyotathon deals, including new Toyota Camrys from only $219 a month. Or drive off in a new Toyota RAV4 Hybrid from just $289 a month. Attention truck buyers, Jerry's has financing as low as 1.9% on new Tacomas and new Tacomas from only $169 a month. Do it for new and used Toyota sales, service, and collision. Visit Jerry's Toyota, just 2 blocks north of the Beltway on Bel Air Road, and online at jerrystoyota.com.
Let's move over to the B block now, sitting on top of the block. The Heat Storm, Yuya Uemura, 3-1 with 6 points, 9-4, defeating the
Oh, you got me putting that time, little shit.
Second, 9-6, losing to NJW World TV Champ Jeff Cobb in 12 under 30 seconds.
So I mean, the match for Takeshita was extremely dynamic. I think consensus as of right now, the top match of the G1 thus far. I personally might still have that Tsuji Takeshita match right up there with it, but it's not, far off. I think a lot of people didn't necessarily see Uemura getting that big win over Takeshita, who seemed to be surging and almost maybe leading to an unbeaten streak in the tournament. And for a guy like Uemura to get a big win over a top name like Takeshita, that really does say something. And I think for some of you fans out there, you really do want to pay attention to that. The Jeff Cobb loss made sense to me after having that war with Konosuke Takeshita turning around and having to face another guy who's no stranger to surging through tournaments. Made sense to me, and I thought that was another really solid performance. A lot of fans seem to be coming around on Uemura. I'll tell you, Jeremy, I'm personally not that far removed. Here's the thing: I was never one of the fans that had gone down.
Oh, come on!
Whoa, that's crazy. I was never one of the fans whose opinion had declined when it came to Uemura. I do notice and see some of the vocal criticisms about his utilization and his booking and character work. And I don't think that we've necessarily gotten to the point where we've overcome those things thus far in the tournament. We're just at a point now where the things that you and I and voices like Chris Samsa have always advocated when it comes to him, when it comes to his heart, his fighting spirit, his technical ability, and his ability to really have a compelling match. That's what's being put on display here, and that's starting to get people to rally behind what he's doing here. So I do think that there are still things to work out when it comes to his character, when it comes to his look. But Uemura is still a blue chipper, and people about that. And I think that the Takeshita match went a long way to kind of restoring some of that shine.
Yeah, we've always been high on Uemura's in-ring work, and Chris Sampson, he tweeted out about the match, and he talked about the time that we saw him in LA. All three of us were at the LA show, Resurgence, still the first show in the US during the pandemic, and we popped huge when he got a win on